Hey, I'm Jeff here at GoFloat Studios, and in this video we're going to talk about what you can actually do in the tank to make the most out of your float experience. The first thing to always remember is that there is no right or wrong way to float. The tank is simply just reflecting back to you and revealing what's going on with you and your body and mind. So we often say the float tank always gives you what you need. So however you respond, maybe you get out a little bit early, maybe you're moving a little bit more than usual, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just you having a response to that experience. So again, never feel like you ever fail at floating. That being said, we're gonna get into a few tips that might help you relax a little bit more easily, especially if it's your first time coming in. So the first tip is to focus on your breathing. When we can inhale through our nose, exhale through our mouth, and control the rate of our breath, it's gonna make it a lot easier for your parasympathetic nervous system to activate, that being the relaxation response in your nervous system. So try focusing on inhaling slowly through your nose and an even slower exhale out the mouth. This is going to signal to your brain that you're in a safe environment, that it's okay to relax, and that's gonna make it a lot easier for you to kind of settle down into the float. The other benefit to this is because your attention is so focused on controlling your breath, that's actually a form of meditation where you are taking your mind off of the millions of other things that you could be thinking about. So just even thinking about your breath and only thinking about your breath, it's going to put you in a more relaxed state of mind. So if it's your first time floating, you're gonna wanna play around with different body positions because some people like to float with their arms down, some people like to float with their arms up or across their chest. And we also have a couple of different float devices here to assist with you. These are totally optional. You don't have to use them. Your head and your body are going to stay perfectly afloat even without these. But if you do have any neck injuries or a little bit of extra tension there, we can give you a halo here, which you can put behind your head for a little bit of extra neck support. And we also have a pool noodle, which again, totally optional, but you can put it behind your back for extra support or put it under your knees for extra leg support as well. And again, it's not for everybody. Some people like it, some people don't. If it's your first time, you really have to play around and see if what's right for you. So the third point here is all about movement inside the tank. Generally speaking, once you've found a comfortable position for yourself inside, you don't want to move around too much. The more you can kind of stay still, the more your body is going to acclimate to the temperature of the water, to the temperature of the air. And by the way, we do keep the water at skin neutral temperature. And the idea is once you stop moving, your body is going to naturally come to that homeostatic balance where you won't feel the difference between your body, the water, and the air. And it's kind of like you're floating in space because your sense of touch is shut off. And again, with one less source of input coming into your brain, that's going to help you go into an even deeper state of relaxation. Now, that all being said about staying still in the tank, remember at the beginning, I said there's no right or wrong way to float. And when you're in the tank, if you feel like you do need to stretch, you do need to move around, feel free to do so. That might be something you feel like your body just is asking you to do. You know, we have people who do yoga, who come inside and say that they can get into different types of stretches, they can get into different types of yoga positions that don't exist in their everyday life because they're supported in a zero gravity environment, but because it's a liquid surface, they're able to move through it as well. And speaking of different ways of floating, keep in mind that although the traditional experience is to have silence and minimal noise coming into the float, you have the option to hook up your phone and play your own meditation track, play your own music. These are things that we do offer, and it might help you settle in, especially the first time if you're uncomfortable with the silence. And the last thing to say about all this is that floating is a practice. It's just like riding a bicycle. The first time you do it, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit off balance. The second time you do it, you're gonna get a little bit more familiar, it gets easier, and as you keep floating and floating, you're gonna get better at it. Most people's goals when they come into float is to get into that deepened state of relaxation, that point where you're in between states of consciousness. You're not fully awake, you're not fully asleep, and that's where people feel the most restful afterwards. However, it's really important, again, that you kind of discover what floating means for you and how you like to float, because floating is different for everyone. We've seen all types of people use the float tanks for different reasons, have different ways of floating while they're in there, and so you need to kind of figure that out for yourself and not have your experience influenced by anyone else's. So hopefully, if you are looking to get into that really deep state of relaxation, that these tips on breathing, on finding a proper body position for yourself, as well as staying still in the tank, is something you can apply while you're in there to help you get the total mental and physical relaxation you might be looking for. So if you want to book a float, give us a call, click the links below, and hopefully we'll see you soon.